All right, Matt, this is the Fert probe that we're going to use for fertilization. As you can see, it's got a tip at the end with 4 holes in it, and that's basically when you're stick it in the ground, that's the area that it's going to go in 4 different ways under pressure. So it's got the male-in quick connect right here for the hose. Connects by female end, pulling it back, making sure it locks into place. This is the ball valve, so you have different areas on the truck that turns on and off as far as like the flow of fertilizer. So right now it's in the off position. Turn it on, engage our pressure reel. All right, it's pressurized. So how much we put in the ground is the same every time we fertilize. So each injection site is going to be 1 quart per injection. So how do you know how you're getting a quart out each time? Is calibrated by what's called the volume over time method. Take our graduated pitcher here, and this is a gallon pitcher, and you see the increments marked here. So 32 ounces is a quart per gallon. So really how you do it, which again is called volume over time, you sit the pitcher down, and it's basically going to be a 3 count, and the cadence depends on how fast or slow you go when you squeeze the trigger. And like there again, you want a quart per injection site. So turn it on, and then I'm going to give it a 3 count. 1, 2, 3. All right. All right. So that 3 count and the cadence I gave was exactly a quart. So the hose reel's got 400 feet of hose on it. So depending on where you're going on the property, however, I usually start where it's a good idea to start, wherever if you're fertilizing in the back of the property, start there first, work your way back to the truck. But one of the trees we're doing is the elm here and the Japanese maple, so we'll just drag to the furthest of the root zone that we're going. So a tree like this, if it's not indicated on the work order how far to go out, it might say 6 feet, 8 feet, but if it's not indicated, we're going to get the entire root zone of the tree. So I'm starting here. This is about the outer drip line of the tree to the back, and it doesn't matter if you're working left to right, right to left. For the sake of me being here already, we're going to start right here, and that's about the other outer edge of the drip line. So you're going to go, your injection site's going to be every 3 feet. So I'm going to go in the straight line. Starting here, going to give it a quart, move 3 feet, give it a quart, move 3 feet, give it a quart until you reach the opposite end of the drip zone of the tree. And even though the canopy of the tree is round, it's okay. It's easier if you grid it out, in my opinion, versus going in a circular pattern, because you're going to forget where your injection site was if you try to go in a circular pattern. So what I do is wherever I start, I look for a waypoint to line up with and keep my eye on that. That's how you're going to determine your straight line. And when you get to the point where you're going to stop, then you're going to make it 90 degrees, go 3 feet, turn around, and start again. Now a good trick, the foot plate right here to the gun right here is about 3 feet. So when you get or a half a step, depending on your stride, could also be 3 feet. So we'll start here. 1, 2, 3, and until you really get a good rhythm, you can just lay it down, see where your next one's going to be. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, look at that spot right there to your last hole, which was right there. 3 feet. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm on the outer edge of the drip line. Do your turn 90 degrees. 1, 2, 3. All right, line up again. Look for a waypoint, and that's how you determine your straight line. And usually in a mulch bed, it's a lot easier to see versus turf here, and then you can really kind of see where your last hole was. 1, 2, 3. All right, I can kind of see where my last one was right there. So I'll lay it down again and see if I'm on track. And it was right there, so I'm pretty close. And that's it until you get the total root zone of your tree.
Yeah, that was my question there. Now, can it go through that?
Yep, we're puncturing right through it.
Is that gonna be bad?
Well, honestly, the landscape fabric is not good anyway.
Doesn't it stop? Like, why have the leaf litter and stuff if it's just gonna sit on the?
Yep, exactly why I have it, because it's not going to do what it's supposed to. It's like the microbes are in the soil, not breaking down the leaves that are sitting on top of the landscape fabric. Here's another little trick of the trade too. Don't get yourself wrapped up around the tree. I would probably finish the tree, because unless you get really used to knowing where you stopped and started, if you do that and you hadn't finished the tree, you're just going to confuse yourself again. You hear that, Matt? The kind of like the cavitation, where it's just kind of the motor's kind of pausing, and that's it getting low.
Does it shut off or something?
It doesn't shut off, but when you know it's getting that low, and we already know it's low, you don't want it to go bone dry, because you don't want the pump to be sucking air, because a pump is made to keep fluid in it, and basically the water, whatever's in there, kind of lubricates it, so it's actually bad for the pump to get it to dry. Oh, we know how low it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's not sucking air yet. But how much more do you have on this tree? All right, we probably don't have enough. Let me see. This is 50 gallons per 100, so I knew we'd go ahead and mix up 2 bags. So that was and then I filled this one up all the way. So I'll start by transferring the water in this tank over here to 100 gallons. Fill back up. Yeah, so we've already used, 100 gallons. Which I figured we would. The first job was one Japanese maple that took 2 gallons. The last job we were on was a lot of small plants, which used it up already. This is a gallon.
Say the last part again.
So every injection site is a quart, so every 4 holes is a gallon of mixed fertilizer. No. At the truck, yeah. Got it? Two packets.
So how does water get from one tank to the other?
Moving the valves. So this valve here is from this tank. So you turn that one to the on position. Close the 125. Open this one. Now the water from here will transfer over to here when you turn the PTO back on. It takes a while to transfer 100 gallons from a tank, but it definitely doesn't take a long time filling it up from the fire hydrant. That's how we get water into the tank.
Fire hydrant?
Fire hydrant. We have the meter, hoses connected to the fire hydrant, hose to the meter, and then the hose from the meter to the truck, and it connects right here. And then you just, whatever one you want to move to, just fills up. Still mic'd up?
Okay.
All right. So the fertilizer packets, one bag mixes up per 50 gallons. So to mix up 100 gallons, we're going to need 2 of these. So when we're transferring water and you get about halfway of your water in the tank, you can actually start mix it in. You don't want to pour it. You don't want to dump this in as a dry product, dry. Or you really don't want to do it when you're almost full either, because it's going to take longer for everything to recirculate. So once you start dumping it at about 50 gallons, it has time to start mixing in when you're about complete. Clear right here, because this is going to be fresh water. And this is the one that I mix the fertilizers in mainly, and I'll use that one right there for large sprays if we need to. The small cone tank is going to be primarily for spraying properties, just because of the small amount of water needed for that. So this one, because it's got the fertilizer mainly, it's going to cloud up quicker than others. So this is one we're going to have to change out more often if it gets too cloudy to see. You can get this kind of sight tubing at Lowe's, and you just cut it to length and take your clamps and put a new one on. Open up the large valve for the tank we're going to be operating off of. So now we're ready to go. We close up the lids, PTO on again, pressurize the pump, and then we're ready to go. All right, so we performed the deep root fertilization with the soil probe. So now we're going to do fertilization via soil drench. So basically the soil drench one we can make in-house in the shop. It's basically PVC you can get at Lowe's. And then the drench nozzle, order online, you can actually get them at Site One Landscape Supply. Make these, and then the plumber's glue, basically make these on our own. Take our spray gun, take the tip off. I'm gonna hand that to you for safekeeping. And it's also threaded to go right on. All right, so when we're soil injecting with the Fert probe, each injection site, 1 quart. Same applies for soil drenching, but we're going every 3 feet, so we're going to use the same premise. So we can't really use the Fert probe in here; it's just too thick. You're going to break twigs, everything. You're going to, the soil probe is going to break some of the plant. Walking in it, you're going to break some of the plant. So this is perfect scenario to use the drench wand. Another place to use the drench wand is if you're in a heavily mulched bed, it's filled with drip irrigation, and you don't know where that is. It's okay to soil drench the whole bed as well. So calibration, again, you're still doing 1 quart. So kind of guess like 3 foot by 3 foot. That's your grid pattern. And however close to the ground or far away is how you get your fan. So if you hold it up, you can kind of see that spray pattern going right in that area right there, and that's basically in a 3 foot by 3 foot area. Hold it any closer, you're not going to really get that. I mean, you can do it that way in that area, but the further you hold it away, and if that spray pattern is in that 3 foot by 3 foot, and you're giving it the 3 count, you know you're getting a quart in that area. So what I'll do in something thick like that, where you know you can't walk in it, I can get middle ways from standing on the edge here and working from left to right, going on the other side, and working same concept. So I'll start down here. Look for where the edge starts to each individual plant. You can kind of see the cluster in there for where the root ball originates. Hold it up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to work right from left to go a little beyond that to get to the middle of the cluster of plants. whole grouping of azaleas are done.